Hey everybody, Joy here. It is Friday, November 13th. I think it's Friday the 13th actually. Lucky Friday the 13th, praise the Lord, 2020. And I wasn't going to do a video today. I'm just up here in my t-shirt and my sweatpants sewing today. I'm making myself a snowman shirt that is a size smaller. So maybe it won't be clear out to here on me. So, no, I didn't make anything, and don't look at what I'm wearing because that's not why I'm here. I wanted to answer a question that I have gotten several times. It's about how I lower my garment for my low shoulder. Now, first of all, let's say that both of your shoulders to your underarms to your biceps or whatever these things are up here are the same. You're the same on both sides. It's just that this section is hooked onto your body lower. And this section's hooked onto your body higher. So you have one high, one low. But they're both the same. Okay? It's not that the distance around the armscye is going to be different on this side than that side. When you cut out the sleeve in the pattern, there's nothing wrong with the sleeve. The sleeve is fine because your shoulder to the bottom of your arm is the same here as it is here. Does that make sense? So, you need the same opening for your arm, the same size opening. You need the same size opening on both sides. So, when you're lowering your shoulder, you also have to lower it under here because, and we're talking about your pattern, your garment, and the armscye, okay? I'm going to show you in great detail. You want to end up with the exact same size armscye as you did before you took it down a ½ inch for your, or 1 inch, or however low your shoulder is. Now I have told the whole wide world many times in many videos that when I sew the front to the back of my garment, I lower this side 1/4 inch on the seam allowance. I lower it down 1/4 inch and then I sew it. And so that makes everyone think that I'm only lowering it 1/4 inch when I need a half. But that isn't true. Let me show you. I just tried to show this to Jerry a while ago and I had him so confused. He kept saying, "What about the fold? What about the fold?" And I'm like, "What fold? What are you talking about?" All right, so let's play like. Let's play like. This is our armhole, our front and our back. Yes, I realize it's just 2 pieces of paper, but I think I can get my point across. Let's play like this is the front of your blouse, up here at the shoulder, and this is the back, vice versa, doesn't matter which. When you put them together and you measure, you're going to come up with a measurement of that armscye. Measure it on the seam line. Measure it with the 5/8 inch taken out or not the 5/8 inch taken out. Just be sure you do both sides before or after. Okay, so this is before. We've got a front and a back of a shirt, and this is the armhole that's going to go around a little baby's arm. Okay? Does that make sense? Hey, I know. Come over here, Benji, and let's play like you're the example. Let's play like. I need some tape. I'm not totally prepared. Hold on. I'm liable to make the biggest mess in the universe here. No, I believe the media has already done that for us. Okay, the election isn't over, my friends. If you want to know what's really going on in the world, watch Newsmax, something we just found on YouTube, Newsmax. Fox is horrible. All of the news medias are horrible. They're all liberals. If you're a liberal, you still need to know the truth. You still need to know what's going on. So I highly recommend Newsmax. Okay, so this is our armscye. So it's going to go around our arm like this, right? See? There it is. It's around Benji's arm. Okay? So here's the shoulder seams. So we know that Benji's shoulders are the same, but we're going to play like they aren't. Okay? So you got this as an armscye, right? Okay, so I'm going to cut it apart. I don't know if I need to cut it apart or not, but I'm going to. All right. Let's look at this. When I put these two pieces together, now there's no seam taken in this yet. Okay, forget the seam allowance. There's no seam allowance. All right, so we have the two armscyes put together. The total length, you can see, is 8 inches. 8 inches. Now remember, one represents the front, one represents the back. We're going to sew the front to the back. Okay? We're going to sew the front to the back, pretend like. We're not really, but pretend like. And we're going to lower, now remember, we got two pieces here now. We got the front and the back. We are going to cut off a 1/4 inch. See my 1/4 inch and my 1/4 inch? So a 1/4 inch is coming off the front, the 1/4 inch is coming off the back up here at the shoulder. All right, so we're going to put them together. We're going to cut off 1/4 inch. Now we remember this measured 8 inches, right? I just cut off a 1/4 inch. Now we're going to tape it back together straight. No seam allowance. There's no seam allowance. The seam allowance isn't important. We're talking about the length of the armscye. All right, so we've taped it back together. A minute ago we had 8 inches. What should we have if we cut off a 1/2 inch? Now I lowered it 1/4, but 1/4 and 1/4 is a 1/2. So what should we have? Well, we should have more than this, Joy. We should have 7.5 inches. Oh, this makes me so mad when something doesn't work. Why doesn't that work? Hold on, everybody. I think I cut off more than a 1/4 inch. Well, let's start over because I cut off the wrong amount. I'll be back. Our armscye, the front and the back put together. Now, I don't know if it'll go around Benji anymore. No, it won't. So we'll have to put him back. It won't go around Benji anymore. Yes, I know my pants are really baggy. Everything's really baggy. Okay, so here we are, the front and the back. Let's see what it totals together now. Front and back together total exactly 6 inches. 6 inches. Now, I have the 1/4 drawn on the proper measurement this time. And we're going to cut off, we've got the two pieces together, two pieces together. I'm cutting off 1/4 inch. 1/4 inch. So, we have a 1/4 and a 1/4. And a 1/4 and a 1/4 total a 1/2. Okay, now this is Joy math. Somebody else may say, yeah, it's totally wrong, you're not doing it right. Okay, but this is how my mind thinks of it. Okay, so 2/4 is a 1/2. So in my opinion, I have just reduced the armscye by 1/2 inch. So let's measure it again. It was 6 inches. Let's measure it again now that we've removed 1/4 inch on both sides. And we now have 5 1/2. 5 1/2. Do you see? If I had cut 1/2 inch off up at the top, I would only have 5 inches. A whole inch would have come off. I only want a 1/2 inch off. Okay? So now, what you have to do is when you sew the armscye together, you're going to sew it together up at the top. It's going to be sewn together down at the bottom. But the circle is going to be, the entire circle is going to be 1/2 inch too short. But instead of taking more out up here at the top, we have to take it out down here underneath the arm. Now, think about underneath the arm. Let me cut this into a circle. Maybe it'll make more sense for you. Okay, so here we are. Now, this is going to be the bottom. You're going to have a whole sleeve here, all right? But this is your underarm part. So from up here at your shoulder to your underarm, you're 1/2 inch off now. So you can't lower this just 1/4 because it's not two pieces together anymore. It's single layer. The front is here, the back is here. They're next to each other. They're not on top of each other anymore. They're next to each other. So you have to come in here. You have to come in under the arm and you have to lower it 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch. You have to go underneath the arm and lower it 1/2 inch, not 1/4. Okay? Is this making sense to you? Because you have single pieces now. You are no longer together. And even if you were, you'd still have to cut 1/2 inch because you're going to wear it open. Well, you wear your shoulder open too. No, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. I know, it's confusing. I couldn't even get Jerry to understand this, and he's a super genius. He's like magna cum laude, whatever that is. Okay, I'm magna cum nothing. I just graduated high school. All right, so I'm going to show you my real blouse. This is my real blouse. I have taken the shoulder in 1/4 inch on the right side. So now, when I put my two together, can you see that this is 1/2 inch longer than this? It's 1/2 inch longer or lower, or however you want to look at it. So, my right armhole has to be cut down. And I always mark it. I've got a purple line on here that you need to just ignore. But the little blue line is where I'm going to cut it down 1/2 inch. The purple line was for me. I was trying to explain to Jerry what 5/8 inch was. All right? So, I always mark with a color, friction marker, this 1/2 inch area down here after I take the top in 1/4 inch, or I will always, 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 always forget to trim it down and the sleeve won't fit in. The sleeve is not going to fit in until the armhole's the same exact size as the other one. The other one's correct. We didn't take it in at all. So I hope this is making sense to you guys. I know, but you cannot take it in 1/2 inch at the top. You just can't do it. But I can tell you right now that my sleeves are not the same. And one of them has to be lowered. Now, if you were to take your paper pattern and you wanted to draw a whole front instead of half a front, or if you wanted to draw a half right front and a left front, you could fix the shoulder that way. And that way the right part, or the left, whichever side of you, mine's my right side, that way your pattern piece would be different one side than the other, and you wouldn't have to take 1/4 inch at the top and cut 1/2 inch out at the bottom, because you could just have a different pattern. But to me, it's easier to do it this way, since it's just 1/2 inch, okay? And it doesn't change anything down here. Nothing down there changes. I don't know why, but it doesn't. That doesn't make any sense either. So, probably from here to my waist, and I'm sure I am because I'm 1/2 inch off at the hip. So anyway, it doesn't mess up the side seams. I can just tell you that, okay? So what am I making? I haven't tried it on yet. I should. You want me to try it on real fast? Hold on. So this is my new 41 dots instead of 42 dots Sure Fit Designs top. All right, no collar. There will be no collars involved. And of course this will all be 5/8 inch deeper once I take the seams. So I'll come back and I'll show it to you all done with some normal pants on. How about that? Since I have this blouse on and I'm remaking it, I thought I would just show you quickly. I talked about it yesterday. I'm making a snowman fabric. This blouse is Sure Fit Designs, drawn with 42 dots. And you can see it still fits me. I can wear it just fine. But I've lost an inch off my bust and an inch off my waist. Down here at my belly, it's come and go, you never know. I drew out a new blueprint from the master yesterday. This is 42, 42, 42, 42. The new one is 41, 41, 41, 41. And I'm almost done with it. I'm up to the sleeve. So I thought I would just let you watch me do the sleeve again for those of you that may have missed me doing it on this top. This top was a tutorial that I did. I'll put a link here or a link here, probably in a playlist, but whatever, link duty will be here somewhere. So now I've got the other top completely done, hems, buttons, buttonholes, and everything. Everything's in but the sleeves. So I thought, well, I'll hook up my camera and you can watch me do a sleeve again. Okay, are you just exhilarated and super excited? And I have been asked, I don't know how many times, do you know that song, I've got the joy, joy, joy? Oh yes, oh yes, of course I thought it was written about me when I was a child. I've got the joy, 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 joy down in my heart. Hey, listen, if you guys want to see the truth about what's going on here in our country, you're never going to find it on the regular news. You're never going to find it on Fox anymore either. There's a new channel that Jerry and I have found, and it's called Newsmax. Now we find it on YouTube. I don't know where else you can find it. Probably it's on TV, but it's called Newsmax. There's a huge, 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 huge gathering in DC today of Trump lovers. Mind you, there's no riots. There's no broken windows. There's no stolen property. There's no burned down buildings. There's no shooting people that are wearing a Biden hat. Okay, this is a whole different group of people. People who love God and understand the truth about our president. So, don't get mad at me. You have a right to what you think, and I have a right to what I think. So let's just love each other anyway, okay? But you might want to watch Newsmax. I'll be back with that sleeve. Okay, my friends. Is this the cutest material? I mean, really. Is it just the cutest? I know, I'm just a little girl. Okay, so here's my sleeve. I've got my 2 notches. I've got my clip up at the top showing me where the middle is. Well, no I don't, so I'll go back and put that in. And I have my single clip over here. Who remembers what 1 clip and 2 clips means? 2 clips means the back. 1 clip means the front. Very good. Okay, now this sleeve, this is the Sure Fit Designs woven. Sure Fit Designs has a woven sleeve and a knit sleeve. This is the woven sleeve. The woven sleeve has a dart. So I've cut out my 2 sleeves. I'm going to mark that center spot first before I go any further. So let me put this back down. There's so many things that you can screw up. And I know just about all of them, let me tell you. So here's my drawn sleeve. I'm going to put it back down here. And I'm going to mark the center up at the top. And why am I going to do that? Because you want to line that up with the shoulder seam. You want to line it up with the shoulder seam. Did I have enough coffee yet? Probably not. You want to line that notch up with the center up here with your seam. You have a shoulder seam on your blouse, and you're going to line that notch up with this shoulder seam. Shoulder seam seems awful far back on this. I need to move that forward. And as Peggy Sager says, there's no anatomically correct place on your shoulder for the seam to be. Hey, anatomically correct reminds me of something. You people that like my stories. When I was in the 5th grade, I had a teacher named Mrs. Mallory. And she was an older lady and quite chubby. And she had thick black hair, and she always pulled it back, and she had a bun back here, and she would stick one of those big sewing needles through her bun. And then she wore these shoes. They were black, and they were almost like a boot. And the top of them was made out of like a screen. I'm sure it wasn't a screen, but you know what I mean. It had all those little holes punched in it on the top of her shoes. So we always called her Mrs. Mallory with the screen shoes, right? Well, Mrs. Mallory didn't like me much. I don't know why. I'm such a likable person. But we had this assignment one time, and you had to get up in front of the class, and believe me, I was not like I am now. I was absolutely terrified. Practically have a heart attack and faint terrified of getting up in front of anybody. I thought I was homely, and I was. You know, these other little girls in the class had thick hair and these little ponytails and a big pretty bow in their ponytail and a dress to match and the cutest little shoes, and I was poor compared to them. And I had very straight thin hair, and it just kind of hung down straight, and I had 5 dresses, and that's all I had for the whole year: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and they were very plain. My mother didn't make them. By then, Mother was buying our clothes. But anyway, I'm just saying, I was very plain Jane, and I felt very homely next to these darling, cute little girls with their bows and their different dress every day. So, I just hated to get up in front of anybody. I had friends because people kind of liked me for my personality, so I had some friends, but I didn't hang around with the popular girls, because the popular girls were the ones with the ponytails and the pretty bows, remember? So anyway, this is 5th grade. And I don't know who was in my class. There was a new guy from another school. His name was Mike Knapzinger, and he really liked me. But because of my personality, not because of my ponytail or my bow. In fact, this is 5th grade. And of course, these popular girls were already getting boobs and wearing bras. And you know, I just was wearing probably an undershirt, who knows. But anyway, this Mike Knapzinger guy sat across from me, and he used to throw pennies down my dress because they just dropped from the top of my dress straight out to the floor. So he thought that was just so hilarious. I know. No wonder I had a complex when I was that age. So anyway, my boobs didn't come in until I was, what, about 60? So anyway, now I have to do all these FBAs. So anyway, that's not the point. So Mrs. Mallory gave us this assignment. What you had to do is get up in front of the class and do a commercial. And it had to be a commercial like on the television. Well, we weren't allowed to watch TV. My parents thought TV was a sin. We didn't even get a TV till I was 11. And it was this blonde, like this blonde box, blonde colored box with this little bitty screen. And all we were allowed to watch was Lawrence Welk. And I don't remember if Lawrence Welk had commercials or not. But anyway, I didn't know any commercials. Not to mention, even if I did, I would have been too terrified to try to do one. But I want you to know that if Mrs. Mallory was alive today, I would go back to that class, because I know a commercial by heart. I know a commercial by heart that I had learned years after the 5th grade. And it comes into my head all the time like a song. Like, it's all of a sudden I'll be in the shower and I'll start singing this stupid commercial. It's about toothpaste. So I have nothing written down, nothing to copy. I just remember this commercial. It's hilarious. Let me see if I can think of it. Crest has been shown to be an effective decay preventive dentifrice when used in a conscientiously applied program of oral hygiene and regular professional care. I could have gotten an A. You know what I got? My name was Klingerman. Started with the C, so I guess that was the first letter, the nearest letter to the A's, and so I had to be first. So I had made a microphone. I had taken a knife, and I had wrapped a potato with foil, and I had stuck it on the knife, and then I poked all these holes in the foil, and so I made a microphone. Why, I don't know, because I knew I didn't know a commercial, but they called me first. So I had to go up in front of the class. So I stood there in front of the class holding my potato. She made me stand there. I said, I don't have a commercial. I'm not ready. I'm not allowed to watch TV. You're going to do your commercial, young lady. So she made me stand up there the entire class. Mike Knapsinger was probably throwing pennies down my top. But I just stood there. Well, believe it or not, the class loved me for it. They all thought it was amazing. The teacher was furious. At the end of the class, she dismissed the class. Everyone but Joy Klingerman can leave. So she came and she got me. I was still standing up there with my potato. I never said a word. I just stood there the whole class holding my potato. Took me by the arm, took me outside the class, walked me down the long sidewalk up to the principal's office. And I had to go to the principal's office, and then she just left me there. And the principal, having dealt with me and my mother before, he did not know what to do with me. He pretended to call my mother. Mrs. Klingerman, I have your daughter here in my office, and she didn't do commercial, and blah, blah, blah. And okay. So then he gets off the phone and he says, all right, well, you can go back to your class now that I've talked to your mother. So I go home that afternoon and I say to my mom, what did you say? What did you say? What did you say to the principal? And she said, what did I say to the principal? I didn't say anything to him. What are you talking about? And so I told her what happened. And she said, he never called me. I never spoke to him. So anyway, I got out of the principal's office and went back to wherever you go back to the playground or the class or whatever. I tell you, I was the heroine of the day. All the kids in the class thought I was so amazing and so super because none of them had to do their speech. And I went to the principal's office, so I made it sound like he tortured me and beat me half to death. Anyway, my life, isn't it just so exciting? You want to make a sleeve now? Hold on. I have so many machines on this table, there's hardly room to even put my camera anymore. All right, we're going to put the machine on a long stitch. I'm going to put it on 4.0. Regular stitch is 2.5. 4.0. I'm going to line my sleeve up. I want long threads here. And I always hold the thread before I take off. I'm starting at the notch. A lot of sleeve patterns will give you a dot and a dot and tell you to do this from dot to dot. I don't do it from dot to dot. I do it from front notch to back notch. That way it spreads out over more room. In my opinion, and everything's my opinion here, you do know that. And we're going to change feet because this one has a notch in the back and I don't want notch duty. I don't want the even feed foot. I don't want even feed. I want me to hold it and not let it feed at all. Okay? So this foot, this is my Bernina 740, and this foot has this notch in the back. Right there. And so this little thing right here fits into it. And then it makes it have feed dogs on the top. That's why I bought this machine. I love it. But I don't need it for this. For this particular technique. Okay, so I'm going to hold the thread like I said. Let me get the thread where I can hold it. I'm putting it on 1/2 inch. The seam allowance 5/8 inch. I'm going to sew this crimp in at 1/2 inch. Now, that little screw right there is hurting my finger. So I'm going to take that little screw out, because I don't want it going up and down and cutting my finger. Alright, so now we're going to hit the pedal and we're going to go. Notice my finger is right here. This finger is right here. I am going to hold this piece of material down and not let it go through for as long as this machine will let me do it. There comes a time when you have to let go. Now my other hand, this is my car. This is my motor, and it guides that curve. There's a curve at the top of your sleeve. Okay, I gotta let go because it's too tight. Now put it there again. Usually you can do this in two turns. Actually, I've got to do 3 turns. You're the cutest. Now lift it up, pull it out, leave yourself some length, and chop your thread. Now, my sleeve is crimped. See crimping duty? Isn't it wonderful? It's just absolutely wonderful. and it prevents tucks and gathers and icky places that you have to get out. It's just a very light gathering, okay? And I didn't put the dart in yet, but we're gonna do that next. We're gonna come over here to the other sleeve. We're gonna do the exact same thing. 1/2 inch, line it up, hold the thread. If you don't hold the thread, your machine will eat it. At least mine does. Let go, put your finger back. Drive it with your other hand. You have to drive it carefully. You don't want it to jump up so you're sewing at the 5/8 inch mark. Because if you get over to the 5/8 inch mark or deeper, you're gonna have to tear that out later. When your sleeve is in, you're gonna have all this thread showing out here, and that's icky and awful. You can get it out because it's a basting stitch, but still, who wants to do that? Nobody. All right, now we're gonna put our little dart in. See my dart? I drew it on there with a friction pen. How much do we love friction pens? Oh my goodness. We love friction pens. So I'm going to pin it at the point and then bring it back through on the line. Then I'm going to make sure that it's exactly the same on both sides. There's my pin. You have to make sure that your lines line up. You may have to do it 27 times. Well, maybe 2 or 3. Do you realize you exaggerate all the time? Really? All right, there we go. So now I have 3 pins in there on the line, and they go through the line on both sides. I start at the wide end of the dart. I'm gonna take this foot off, and I'm gonna put the open toe foot on that doesn't have the feet off. I'm gonna put this open toe foot on. It's like open tofu, open toe foot. Why are you doing that, Joy? Because I want to be able to see this purple line. That's why I'm doing it. I'm going to turn this back down to a regular stitch. And I'm going to sew this on that purple line. Ouch! And I'm going to poke myself with a pin. Do you ever notice how sharp new pins are? Which means old pins are really dull. Alright, so now I'm taking the pins out as I go, of course. Now I'm just going to sew right off that point, and I'm going to keep going. And then I'm going to come down and tuck that in right here so it can never come undone. Alright? There it is, that's my dart. It's sewn exactly on that purple line. Okay, let's do another dart. Okay, that dart's in. 2 darts. So now that your darts are in, we're going to press that dart down. We're going to put the sides together, which will now line up. If you haven't sewn that dart in, your sides aren't going to line up. Okay, so I'm simply going to put the sides together. Oh, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm going to go over there and I'm going to press up the hem. I'm going to go press up the hem, which is 1 inch. Then I'm going to serge it. Remember, I always press it first because when you serge it, it doesn't always serge perfectly straight and you're going to lose your 1 inch. And then when you fold it up 1 inch, it's probably not going to be right. So I'm going to press it up 1 inch, serge it, and then I'm going to come back and sew it together. Haven't turned my iron on yet, so gotta go for now. I've just been texting with Viv. She informed me that Joann's is having all its patterns on sale today, except for one. Quick Sew, she said, wasn't on sale. So she said Brad was going to take her. And I guess it's quite a drive like it is for me. But I said, oh my gosh, I want to go too. I said, I'm going to tell Jerry he can't be outdone by Brad. So I asked Jerry. And I said, Viv and I want to help the economy. He just laughed. Anyway, he said, sure, sure, sure. So, we're going to go to this place called Mooyah. I don't know if anybody has a Mooyah but us. But they have really good hamburgers and they have sweet potato fries. But you can get their hamburgers on lettuce, so no bun, so no calories, right? I had one last time I went with Terry and it was so good. Okay, so you can see I have ironed up my hem. I've ironed up my hem and I've serged it, okay? Ironed it up and I serged it. So it's all ready to go. So after I do that, I come over here and I put the side seam in. Well, it's not a side seam. Well, it's sort of a side seam. It's a arm side seam. Okay, so I've sewn that together. So I've got my hem all ready to go. No steam-a-seam. This is a woven. You don't need steam-a-seam on a woven. I've got the top crimped, all ready to go in, and I'm going to serge this seam. So, how amazing. Let's show you the one that's not sewn yet. Hem pressed at 1 inch and serged. You don't fold it up yet. You don't do that until you sew the side seam. Side seam together. This is the cutest fabric. Oh my gosh. We're going to leave in an hour. So I might be able to get my new 41 blouse done before we leave. Although the one I have on feels just fine. Oh, I'm telling you, losing weight causes issues. Gaining weight causes issues. Losing weight causes issues. Do you always pin? Yes. I've watched the Janet Prey classes. Yes, I have, Becky. And I know all about not having to pin, but I don't care. I still pin. I just think it's better to pin. So that's just me. Nobody has to do what I do. But praise the Lord. It's a beautiful day. And I'm going to go buy a bunch of patterns. So you'll be seeing the ones that Viv buys. Viv's going to be doing more videos, you guys. I know you're all super excited Viv is back. I'm super excited Viv is back. So, she's going to be doing more videos. And so you'll get to see what she bought today, and you'll get to see what I buy today. Okay, this sleeve is ready to serge. Sew the hem on. I will serge it and finish the hem. Then I will put them both in the blouse. You want to see me put them in the blouse? You all probably do. I'll be back for that. Let's look up close at what I've done. I have pressed the seam toward the front. I always press the sleeve seam toward the front because I always press the blouse side seam to the back, because the blouse side seam has a bust dart on the front. And so there's less bulk ironing it to the back. I have the hem already serged and the folds already there. I'm just going to sew that hem on now. And you can see I already have crimping duty. See that beautiful crimping duty? I love that. I learned that from Sandra Bedzina. But I didn't call it crimping then. I learned the word crimping from Viv. Wonderful. Let's sew this. So this is how I sew the hem in on a woven. You have to have your free arm. Now my wrist is so little, this usually doesn't fit around the free arm. My wrist is so little. I think my wrist measures 5 inches. See, I can't get it around there. So what I'm going to have to do is sew it from the other side and stick it underneath the foot. And I'm going to have to change the foot again to the open toe foot so I can see the edge. And I'm going to put on the open toe foot that has the automatic feed now. And that way it'll be sure to not crimp up. I'm going to put down my little automatic feed foot. Love that. Now I'm going to just stick the foot inside this hole. I'm going to stick the sewing machine foot inside. And I'm going to sew at the edge. I'm going to put that down. Make sure your bobbin thread matches. I'm going to move my needle so it's over to the very edge. Do love my Berninas. Your machines probably do this too. Doesn't have to be a Bernina. But it is wonderful when you've got the kind of machine where you can have different needle positions. It's really nice. I'm going to put it up, yeah, 2.5 is okay. I'll leave it on 2.5. It's not going to show. See, so I'm just sewing on the very edge Hopefully you can see it on the camera. See, here's the hole. See, my hand is going in it. And I'm just pulling it over so I can see the other side. No steam-a-seam. But you could certainly put steam-a-seam if you wanted to. And some people's open arms might be smaller. I don't really know. Backstitch and cut. Cut your thread, Fred. You've got to cut your thread tails off or it's going to scream. I made this at home all by myself and I forgot to cut the threads. Okay, so there it is. My sleeve is all done except for being inserted into the blouse. It has blue buttons. Oh my goodness. Wait till I show you how I came about the blue buttons. Hopefully I won't forget. Alright, so you turn your blouse inside out. Inside out. Your sleeves are right side out. Your blouse is wrong side out. You're going to take your sleeve and you're going to line it up right here at this part under your arm. You're going to line up both of those points, sleeve, blouse. Okay, so I'm going to hold on to the sleeve. First I'm going to look and make sure I have 2 double notches here on this side. And I do! I think that's the first time in history. Your seam allowances will butt up to each other. Butt up like this. Because one goes one way and one goes the other way, right? Now look, now look, now look, now look. This is such a good lesson. Remember I told you that I draw a colored line at the bottom of that sleeve where it has to be cut out a 1/2 inch? I haven't cut it out yet. Thank goodness I didn't iron the mark off. So first thing I'm going to do is go cut this sleeve a 1/2 inch lower. We're going to cut this down a 1/2 inch. Remember I showed you my 1/2 inch lesson yesterday? I've got this little cutter mat so I can stick it in the armhole. I'm sorry, I didn't have it lined up. I told you I couldn't see. Okay, so this was here. That was there. I put my little cutter thing right there in the hole. And then I cut it with this rotary cutter. Okay? It's a little bit crooked right there, but that's okay. My rotary cutter's so dull, and it's a new blade. These mats that you order from Quilters, whatever it is, Mega Mat, they are not good on your rotary cutters. Okay? So here it is. There's the 1/2 inch I cut out from under the arm. Now the sleeve will fit. Here's the top. We're going to find that little slit we put in here. There it is. So we're going to put it up here at the top. Line it up with the seam. This is really lightweight fabric. I hope it's warm outside today. I think it is. Now, make sure you've got double notches. I just cut my double notch off there when I did that trim, but I can see part of it. Alright, so I've got the sleeve, I've got the crimping inside. There's the crimping. It's going against my finger. I'm putting my finger inside. I'm using my hands. What are our very best tools? Our hands. And since I crimped it all the way down to these clips, it's not too gathered anywhere. It's not too hard to put in. And it fits perfect. Fits perfect. Oh my heavens, does it fit perfect. So now we're going to put it around the arm. Now this will go around the arm. Thank goodness my shoulders are bigger than 5 inches. And we're going to put it on 5/8 inch. And we're going to clear the needle so it's not moved over. My gosh, I can't tell you how many times I've forgotten to move the needle back. Like 1,000. You just sewed over a pin. I know. If you sew slowly, usually it doesn't make too big of a crash. But do take them out. Do as I say, not as I do. Now look at my hands. We're steering here. If you'll take your hand and turn it like this. Take your fabric and turn it with your hand like this as it's sewing. It's your steering wheel. And you can steer it. See, I just went over another 2 pins because I didn't notice them. How can you not notice a pin? Hey, it's easy when you're 70. Oh, this is going in so smooth. I took that pin out. I'm so proud of me. The sewing machine fixer man's coming someday. I called him. And he's going to come. Probably take him more than a whole day to work on all my machines. See, I'm going slowly. When you go slowly, you've got time to feel stuff. And you want to feel. Make sure you don't have any crimps or folds. Make sure that inside the hem of the garment isn't sticking up here where the sleeve is. You can feel. When you use your hands, you can feel. I'm feeling, feeling, feeling. You can put your finger underneath and pull everything even. I'm almost at the end and I can feel a crimp. I can feel a bubble, a fold, a something under there. So I'm smoothing it all out. I'm almost to the end. And sometimes I do get crimps. I mean, a crimp in a crimp, you know what that means. You don't want any more crimps. You only want the ones put in here originally. Almost to the end. We'll see how good we did. And I just keep on going past where I started. Then I back up and I cut it. And there it is. There it is. It's in. It's in. So I always serge this off. But I don't serge it until I turn it right side out and I make sure that my sleeve is perfect. Okay? So the other sleeve will go in the exact same way. I'm going to press I always press the seam allowance into the sleeve. Into the sleeve. There's another thread. Always cut your threads. So I'm going to finish it. I'm going to change blouses and then I'll come back and I'll show it to you on me, on my very own body. Over here now that I can see the camera. People say, would you get closer to the camera? I don't like to get close to the camera. See? Perfect. 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 All right, the snowman blouse is done. We're going to look at the difference. Now this one still fits me good. But if I was to take it in, let me see, have I pulled the fullness out of it? See, you can see that I have more of a shape if it was smaller, see. And you can see I still need the fullness down here pretty much, but I could take some out. Let's put on the snowman and see what it looks like. I've got some more vintage buttons from Jerry's mom. They are so cute. Now you can see it fits me closer up in here. You can tell now this has a lot less fullness in it. And this is a 41. It still fits me fine. I still can move my arms. It still fits a little loose. I think I could take a little more of a tuck through here. I can do that on the next one. But what do you think? I need some earrings. I'm getting ready to go to Terry's with the box. You know about the box. So I've got to head over there. She said yes, she wants it, so thank God for that. All right, my friends, I'm going to Terry's with the box. Then I'm coming back. Then I'm going to Sherman with Jerry to buy patterns and a hamburger on lettuce with no bun. Bye for now.